Did you know that 80% of people never finish a book they start? Yet, some books, whether they're on Booktube's hype lists or not, capture hearts and imaginations, pulling readers in and keeping them hooked until the very end. Why is that? What makes certain stories stand out, while others fade into the background? In this guide, we'll dive into the world of storytelling to explore how to captivate an audience, whether you're writing a book, telling a story to a friend, or even creating content for YouTube. We'll break down key strategies that turn ordinary tales into unforgettable ones. Want to know how to make your characters feel real, keep the pace just right, and leave a lasting impact? Keep reading, because the secrets of great storytelling are coming your way, and trust me, they're more powerful than you think. Chapter 1. Unveiling the secrets. What makes a story irresistible? So, what makes a story truly irresistible? It's not just about throwing in a good plot. Great storytelling starts with conflict. Think of it as the heart of your story. Without it, the plot feels flat. Take the Hunger Games, for example. The constant struggle of Katniss in the arena keeps you hooked from start to finish. The main strategy here is tension. A good storyteller knows how to balance moments of calm with high-stakes drama. Emotion is another secret weapon. A reader needs to feel something, whether it's joy, fear, or sorrow. The Fault in Our Stars connects deeply because of its raw emotion. The characters' journeys feel real, and the reader can relate to the pain and joy they go through. The strategy: build your characters with flaws and strengths that make people care. Another important factor: voice. It's the lens through which your reader experiences everything. In The Catcher in the Rye, Holden's voice is so strong that the entire story feels personal. If you can get the voice right, you've already captured your reader's attention. The strategy is simple: make your narrator unforgettable. When you write from a unique point of view, it's hard to ignore. Stories that stand out also have depth. It's not just about what happens, it's about why it matters. When you read The Night Circus, the world building is so intricate that you feel like you've stepped into another reality. To be a great storyteller, your setting should feel just as alive as your characters. Finally, don't forget about stakes. If there's nothing to lose, there's no reason to care. The girl on the train keeps you on edge because you know there's something big at risk. Strategy tip: keep the stakes high. Whether it's love, survival, or identity, make sure your characters have something worth fighting for. Chapter 2. Beyond the bestseller list. Is popularity a true measure of quality? Just because a book is popular doesn't always mean it's great. That's the tricky part of being a storyteller. You need to recognize the difference between hype and substance. Take 50 Shades of Grey, for instance. While it's sold millions of copies, critics have raised concerns about the writing quality. Is the hype justified? Not always. So, how do you avoid falling into the trap of just following trends? Start by focusing on originality. A great storyteller doesn't copy what's already out there. Instead, they build something fresh. Think of The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. It's a fresh take on a classic myth, and readers were hooked because it wasn't like anything they'd seen before. Being a successful storyteller isn't about chasing the next big trend. It's about understanding your audience and staying true to your voice. There are many books that haven't made it to the bestseller list but have had lasting impact. The Secret History by Donna Tartt didn't blow up at first, but over time, its unique storytelling captured readers' hearts. That's the key: slow, steady, quality storytelling wins in the end. When you're crafting a story, focus on what you can offer that others can't. In Circe, Miller didn't just retell a myth, she transformed it. She gave readers a perspective they hadn't considered before. That's the real secret behind a good story: making the old feel new. Don't be fooled by the numbers. Popularity isn't everything. The Road by Cormac McCarthy might not have sold millions in its first year, but its haunting style and depth of emotion made it a modern classic. The real key is to write from the heart, not the market trends. Chapter 3. Plot twists and tropes. How to breathe new life into familiar stories. Tropes are everywhere, but a great storyteller knows how to breathe new life into them. A plot twist can turn a good story into an unforgettable one. Take Gone Girl, for example. The twists in that book are mind-blowing, and they totally reframe your understanding of the entire story. This strategy, unexpected twists, keeps the reader engaged and always guessing. However, it's easy to fall into the trap of predictable twists. That's why being unpredictable is key. In Big Little Lies, Liane Moriarty keeps readers on their toes, revealing shocking details at just the right moment. The strategy? Drop small hints throughout the story, but make sure the big reveal doesn't feel forced. Tropes, on the other hand, can be a double-edged sword. Used badly, they can make a story feel lazy. Used well, they can create powerful connections with the reader. Twilight is often criticized for its overused tropes, yet it became a cultural phenomenon because it tapped into what readers loved. The trick is to understand why certain tropes resonate with your audience, and then make them feel fresh. Consider Harry Potter. It's full of familiar tropes: the chosen one, the mentor, the Dark Lord. But J.K. Rowling turned these into something magical by adding depth to each character and giving them strong motivations. The lesson here: tropes can work, but only if you make them your own. For writers aiming to create unique stories, playing with expectations is a solid strategy. In The Fifth Wave, Rick Yancey creates a world of alien invasion, but flips it on its head by focusing on the survival of the human spirit. It's a twist on the typical alien attack genre that makes readers think about humanity in new ways. Lastly, make sure your plot twists aren't just shocking for the sake of it. They need to serve the story. When a twist feels forced, it can break the immersion. A twist like the one in Shutter Island makes you rethink everything, but it also makes perfect sense once it's revealed. If your twists are organic to the story, they'll have the emotional punch they need to succeed. If you're enjoying these tips and strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more storytelling advice and insights. Let's keep the creativity flowing. Chapter 4: Character Building. Crafting memorable souls in a sea of protagonists. When it comes to storytelling, the characters are everything. A good plot is great, but it's the characters that keep readers coming back. Think about The Great Gatsby. Jay Gatsby isn't just a wealthy man. He's a man full of hopes, dreams, and flaws. His character feels like something more than just a plot device. The secret to great character building is depth. Readers need to believe in him, even if they're not always likable. A well-developed character has strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. Look at Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Elizabeth Bennet is sharp, witty, and independent, yet she has her own flaws, like her tendency to misjudge others. These imperfections make her relatable and real. The strategy is simple: make your characters feel like actual people. If they don't feel authentic, your readers won't care. Another trick is to give characters clear motivations. In The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Lisbeth Salander's need for justice drives everything she does. Her determination makes her unforgettable. Great characters don't just react, they act based on their desires and motivations. This is the key to keeping readers emotionally invested. A storyteller's job is to make readers care about these characters. Whether they're heroes or anti-heroes, they need to evoke emotions. In The Kite Runner, Khaled Hosseini creates Amir, a character full of guilt and regret. As his journey unfolds, you feel for him even when he's flawed. The trick: make your readers empathize with your characters, even if they make mistakes. But don't stop there. A strong supporting cast can elevate your main character. In Lord of the Rings, Frodo wouldn't be the same without Sam. Their bond makes both characters stronger. The strategy here is to build relationships that matter, ones that deepen the story and highlight your protagonist's qualities. Lastly, give your characters room to grow. In Harry Potter, each book shows the main characters maturing and learning. By the end of the series, they're vastly different people, and that growth makes them feel real. Always ask yourself, how does this character evolve through the story? Chapter 5: Pacing and Structure. The art of holding attention. Pacing is the unsung hero of great storytelling. A story that moves too fast can feel rushed, and one that drags on can lose your reader's interest. Just think about the Da Vinci Code. Dan Brown knows how to keep things moving with fast-paced chapters and cliffhangers. But the real key to pacing is balance. You need to know when to give the reader a break and when to keep the pressure on. A slow burn can be just as effective as a fast-paced thriller. In The Goldfinch, Donna Tartt takes her time to build up to the big moments. Her slow pacing allows for deeper character development and a richer story. This strategy works because readers stay engaged, knowing that the payoff will be worth the wait. One of the most important aspects of pacing is the structure. In The Night Circus, Erin Morgenstern uses a non-linear timeline to add intrigue. The story jumps back and forth between different times, but each moment adds to the mystery. The trick is to create a structure that feels fresh while still keeping the story easy to follow. Another strategy is the use of cliffhangers. The Hunger Games does this beautifully. Each chapter ends with something that forces you to keep reading. By using these little hooks, you pull your readers through the story, making them feel like they have to know what happens next. But, remember, you don't always have to use action to keep the pace going. In Little Women, Louisa May Alcott focuses on the quieter moments of life, yet the pacing still feels dynamic because of how she explores character relationships and growth. Sometimes, the emotional stakes can carry a scene, even when there's little action. A great storyteller also knows when to change things up. After a high-intensity scene, it's crucial to give the reader some space before diving back into another conflict. Think of Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin gives readers a breather before throwing them into another battle. That way, the intense moments hit even harder. Ultimately, pacing is about knowing your story and your audience. Every book has its own rhythm, but great storytellers instinctively know how to keep readers hooked, whether it's with a cliffhanger or a heart-wrenching moment. Chapter 6: The Storytelling Legacy, Leaving a Mark Beyond Pages. What makes a story last? Why do some books stick with us long after we've finished them? 1984 is a perfect example of a book that lingers in the mind. George Orwell's vision of a dystopian future continues to be relevant today, more than 70 years after its publication. The key to lasting storytelling is creating something timeless. Your story needs to resonate beyond the pages and spark a conversation. Think of To Kill a Mockingbird. It's not just a novel about racism, it's a novel that challenges the way we see the world. It's a book that continues to inspire readers, year after year. Great storytellers know how to touch on universal themes, ones that people will be talking about for generations. The best stories are those that reflect something larger than themselves. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood speaks to gender, power, and control, which is why it continues to find new audiences. The secret to lasting impact is tapping into these universal truths that never go out of style. A memorable story also invites discussion. When people finish a great book, they want to talk about it. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides is one of those books. Its shocking twist makes readers immediately want to share their thoughts. If you can spark conversations through your story, you've created something that has a lasting impact. Don't forget about the emotional connection. In The Book Thief, Marcus Zusak creates a story about life, death, and the power of words. The emotional pull of the narrative stays with readers long after they've turned the last page. The strategy: create moments that make your readers feel, because those moments are what they'll remember. Lastly, think about your story's cultural impact. Harry Potter has shaped entire generations. It's more than just a series of books, it's become part of our cultural fabric. A great storyteller knows that what they write can change the world, even in small ways. If you want your story to endure, you need to make it resonate. It should touch on something deep, something that people will continue to find meaning in for years to come. Whether it's through emotion, themes, or characters, make sure your story isn't just forgotten once the book is closed. Great stories leave an imprint, one that lasts beyond the pages. If you've enjoyed this storytelling journey, make sure to subscribe for more tips and tricks that will help you become a master of your craft. Let's keep telling those unforgettable stories.